The information provided in this podcast is alleged and based on our understanding and research at the time of recording. We make every effort to ensure the accuracy of the information presented, but we cannot guarantee that all data is entirely accurate or complete. The opinions expressed herein are solely those of the hosts and contributors.
It was as if Scamanda and Inventing Anna popped out a child, put those two together, and you have Elizabeth.
The girl is a pathological liar, and she is a con artist.
I lent her money, and she never gives it back, and it was $7,000. And I was like, that's a lot of fucking money.
It was all lies, basically, to make Andrew look like the villain and her the victim.
If you want to be her friend, she's going to use and abuse you, and I really don't think she'll ever stop.
It started with birthday cupcakes, a tearful mom, a touching caption. And 45 million views later, Elizabeth Teckenbrock was America's newest viral struggling sweetheart.
But just off camera, things weren't adding up. Not long after Elizabeth's video went viral, her ex-husband started posting a different version of events. One that had both of us stopped in our tracks.
I'm Sherilyn Dale.
And I'm Cece Suarez.
And this is e-LIES-abeth. We are the hosts of the Here for the Clout podcast. And while we normally deep dive internet drama, this story, it became something else.
Now, I live in Tampa, and I actually did message back and forth with Elizabeth back when she had the whole internet on her side. And I even invited her to lunch, which never happened, but I left that door open. So fast forward a few months, her ex-husband Andrew's TikTok series actually starts blowing up, and his receipts, they were rock solid.
That's when we really started digging in and looking for answers ourselves, and we noticed her stories weren't matching up any longer. And the deeper we looked, the more questions we had.
So I reached out to Elizabeth for comment, and I sent her a message with some pretty tough questions, and she declined. She told me that she didn't want to participate, but she wished me luck on other interviews. And so I went over to TikTok, as one does. I posted a video asking if anyone in the Tampa area had stories about her or experiences with her. And the floodgates opened.
We literally could not keep up with the messages that were coming in, and that's when we knew this was bigger than just a messy marriage. This was a pattern.
A pattern that left a slew of victims in its wake.
It all began when 29-year-old Elizabeth Teckenbrock posted a tearful TikTok that quickly went viral, racking up 45 million views across multiple platforms. In the video, she's seen emotionally baking her own birthday cupcakes. On-screen text reads,
"Being a single mom is making your own birthday cake on your birthday so that your babies can feel happy they are singing for you."
Yes, she wrote cake, but they were definitely cupcakes, which probably shouldn't bother me as much as it does, but it was cupcakes. Anyways, for the most part, many viewers empathized with her vulnerability, praised her strength, and shared stories of their own struggles as a single parent. It gained so much attention that even news outlets were reaching out to hear Elizabeth's story. She told Newsweek,
"This was my first birthday by myself. Normally, I'd have family around, but this year, I was alone in Tampa."
She added that she got unexpectedly emotional while baking the cake, saying,
"Truth be told, I don't even like the cake. It was all for them."
Once again, cupcakes, but who cares? What mattered was the internet had already bought the story, hook, line, and sprinkle. Cupcake Mom was a moment, a vibe, a collective awe in the chaos of the algorithm. But if the internet moves fast, it takes even faster. Just as her video was reaching millions, another one dropped, and it wasn't sugar-coated. It was ex-husband, 37-year-old Andrew Cormier, who fired back with a video of his own, one that painted a drastically different picture. In his response, Andrew accused Elizabeth of being a neglectful mother, claiming he had full custody of the children and that she owed him over $20,000 in unpaid child support. And he didn't stop there. Andrew also alleged that Elizabeth had faked multiple cancer diagnoses and scammed over $1 million from people who believed she was terminally ill. Even before Elizabeth's birthday TikTok exploded, Andrew had already made it his mission to call her out. Under the TikTok handle Inventing Elizabeth, a not-so-subtle nod to Inventing Anna, Andrew had been steadily uploading videos filled with screenshots and claims aimed at exposing what he calls her pattern of lies. Despite many of these allegations being supported by official records, there was one thing Elizabeth had Andrew beat in. She had the upper hand in effectively using social media and the ability to deceive not only those closest to her, but millions of strangers across the world thanks to TikTok and other social media platforms. Andrew himself admits prior to Elizabeth he barely used social media, and that inexperience quickly allowed the brief support and traction he had to shift back to Elizabeth after she fired back with accusations of her own, claims that, if true, could change the entire narrative. In her response, Elizabeth accused Andrew of being an abusive Scientologist who she claims has a history of manipulating younger women through psychological and financial control. She also alleged that he had been relentlessly harassing her online ever since their divorce 3 years prior.
Andrew has created websites, TikToks, essentially everything since I left him. I think that is probably the Scientologist aspect of his life. If you go on the website, there's actually Scientologist links that he's added there. I don't know if anyone is familiar with that, but getting out of a Scientologist mindset in a relationship is not a good thing and not an easy thing. Andrew is extremely abusive and has always been extremely abusive. He told me the morning that he posted the video, if I deleted my social media, he would not do what he's doing, would not destroy my life. This whole thing started on Friday, which was the weekend of my birthday. Went to my daughters, the ones pictured in the videos, their dance recital. On Friday, the dance recital, afterwards, 4 of my girlfriends asked for me to go to dinner for my birthday. And I said to him, after the dance recital, I'm going to go to the dinner, but I'm still free for the rest of the weekend for the girls, like, no problem. He said, no, you made the decision to go to dinner. You will not see them on your birthday. You will not see them any other, which actually in turn came to why I was so upset. Oh, but also he's a doctor. He owned a practice, an eye clinic, and he essentially runs all his bills through his business, which is fine. But then he pays himself like $350, $400 to turn that in as his financial affidavits, which essentially means he makes no money. There are other women that have filed restraining orders against him, and if anyone took the time to go look him up as well, that's what you would see. Instead, you see everything you've looked me up, which is essentially coming from one man who is out to destroy my life. That is in the nature of being a Scientologist. That is what they do. And if you know anything about them, you would know that. I have tried for 3 years to not expose him on the internet, to not talk about who he is, because as a mother, that is the right thing to do. He has essentially every single person in my life turned them against me. Every relationship that I haven't remotely tried to be in, every friendship that I've tried to have, he contacts everyone. He's had this page up for 3 years because I was on social media a couple of years ago just posting for fun. I have a million texts where I've went to post my girls in my videos that are like my daily videos, and he says, delete them now. Delete the girls off your page right now. Unless you've been in the situation of someone with abuse, mental, physical, it does not matter. You don't even understand what comes along with that. Me getting death threats when I stay home with my kids every day is not right, because a man that I left will always try to destroy my life forever.
Just as Andrew seemed to be winning the court of public opinion, Elizabeth made her move. Her accusations hit hard, and the narrative flipped.
Yet another man causing a witch hunt against a woman that was groomed, then abused by a rich man. And now he's trying to destroy and smear her because she left him. He is apparently a doctor, also apparently manipulated her to sign some papers that allowed him to get the custody. That is sad. I hope his work sees this. He should not be working with people. Why are some people just so unlikable? Just looking at him, I don't like him. Then he spoke. Don't like him even more. What a pathetic excuse of a man.
As much as he tried keeping up with presenting his case and showing his evidence, his inexperience on social media hindered his goal. Instead of taking to a platform like TikTok and presenting a 50-part story time that has become popular since Risa Tisa had the attention of millions for an entire weekend, he showed slideshows of court records, text messages, unflattering photos of Elizabeth, and screenshots of comments saying she faked cancer and had been scamming people for years. To many, it came off as obsessive and confusing due to the countless documents with little to no context. For the next year, Andrew would go on live stream telling his story, primarily on TikTok, and stitching her videos trying to discredit and expose Elizabeth. With each video he released poking holes in Elizabeth's abuse claims, she doubled down and used his own persistence of sharing his story as proof that he was all of the things she alleged, a narcissistic, abusive ex-husband who couldn't accept that she left him and was on a mission to destroy her life.
This man is dangerous. Are you even sure we are only dealing with a simple narcissist? Even malignant narcissist doesn't seem to go far enough. Are we sure that he is not a psychopath? That would be the 9th degree of narcissistic behavior type.
In the age of algorithms, the loudest voice isn't always the one telling the truth. It's usually the one with the most followers. And when it came to Elizabeth, Andrew may have had receipts, but he was no match for her reach or her knack for captivating storytelling. This story doesn't start with Andrew, though, and it doesn't end with him either. Our reporting has uncovered a decade-long pattern of deception. A young girl who spoke of horrors at home that never happened, a mother claiming her child's father was dead, and the most heartbreaking lie a parent can tell about their own child. Each one of these stories was believed by those closest to her, until the truth caught up. If you were to take Elizabeth's account of her childhood and upbringing that she shared on social media, it was one filled with struggle and abuse. If you were to ask her cousin Cassie, it looked a lot different.
I did spend a lot of time with Liz growing up. We were rather close. Her upbringing was great. I mean, we're a close-knit family. Regardless of her mother and father being separated, we still welcomed both of them to all the family functions. You know, her mom would still come to her dad's side, stuff like that. It was actually really healthy, but I can speak to the fact of her mother's side not being the healthiest upbringing of what she's seen her mother partake in. Like, her mother did leave her children with the father to go with other men. It just wasn't the healthiest situation. So she did get taught some bad things on that side of the family. They weren't ever abusive or anything like that. Just a lot of, you know, her mom teaching her bad ways, I guess you can say.
One can never be sure what truly happens behind closed doors, but based on people who were friends with Elizabeth throughout the years, it's hard to know what is fact or fiction because the story never seemed to be the same depending on who she was talking to.
From my understanding, her upbringing was pretty normal. Like, she says on these stories of her TikToks that she was abused and all this stuff. No, she wasn't. Like, she was not abused. She was spoiled rotten. Like, I remember going to her dad's the first time and she was acting like a spoiled bitch to him. Excuse my language, but I was like, man, if that was me, like, my dad would have backhanded me, you know?
We're talking about her dad. So she tells me her dad is the equivalent of the owner of Duke Energy in Canada. Her dad is in Canada. Now, I'm pretty familiar with Duke Energy. I lived in Oklahoma for a while. And if you are Duke Energy, I'm sorry. If my dad was Duke Energy, I would be living in a mansion, because I'm a billionaire, with multiple cars and not in Tampa. I'll be somewhere where I want to live. I was like, this doesn't make any sense.
We've been told that at one point, Elizabeth told multiple people she and her sister were put in foster care at a very young age. She claimed that they were lost in the system, but that her parents found them and reunited the family. I know what you're thinking. It's giving she watched the cinematic masterpiece, The Parent Trap, got inspired, and adopted the story as her own, but of course making it more dramatic.
She told me that she and her sister were in foster care separately. Her mom and dad had both of the children together. They were in foster care, and somehow the parents, her mom and dad, found each other years later and was able to get their kids back from foster care. So I'm sitting there going, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, what? But I'm not really familiar with what foster care is. It's not really my wheelhouse. I've never experienced it, so I can't really necessarily question it. But at the time, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. It didn't seem like that. Like, her parents are not married. There's nothing that indicated that would even happen. So that was the story that she said. She was in foster care with her sister. They were with separate, families. Her mom and her dad reunited and somehow got them back out of foster care.
And while I'm sure people she was telling that to thought the same, one thing that kept coming up over and over again as we spoke to people who knew Elizabeth, whether it was years ago or just recently, was this. She has a way about her. There's something undeniably magnetic. She's charismatic, beautiful, funny, confident, She tells stories with a mix of vulnerability and charm that makes you want to sit closer, lean in, and believe every word she's saying. And even when the stories start to stretch, when they become more dramatic, more unbelievable, there's a sincerity in the delivery that makes you second guess yourself. Maybe it did happen. Maybe she really did go through all of that. Maybe she just needs somebody to believe her. At that moment, you want to be that person. You want to believe her. That's what makes this story so complex. It's not just about lies or manipulation. It's about how someone can create a reality so compelling it becomes easier to go along with it than to question it.
I will say, like, I want it to be on record. Like, when you first meet her, she's so nice and sweet and bubbly, and she will light up the room. If you don't know her true colors, you're like, oh my gosh, I want to be friends with her. Obviously, I was friends with her.
So let's start with Liz telling me that she owned, I think, 6 ophthalmology facilities, and she was a doctor that graduated from Purdue. Mind you, she's, I think, 26 at the time, 27 maybe. So again, let me just state the facts that she told me. She owns 6 ophthalmology facilities. She was a graduate of Purdue. She has her doctorate's degree from Purdue.
According to family, Liz never went to college.
Liz did not go to college. She always talked about it and had aspirations of going to college, but she never did attend.
She did enroll in cosmetology school after graduation, though, which is where she met Cammie and where they became fast friends. Pretty quickly, Cammie learned that cosmetology wasn't the end game for Liz. She claimed she was on a reality TV show and was aspiring to continue pursuing that.
I mean, the biggest lie that she's ever told me is probably that she was on 16 and pregnant and that she was trying to be on Teen Mom. That was a huge lie I mean, maybe she was. I've never saw the episode, so I don't know.
Liz ultimately dropped out of cosmetology, allegedly after getting caught up in a pretty serious lie.
So I met her in cosmetology school in 2014 at Avant-Garde, and that cosmetology school is no longer. I stuck with it. She dropped out. That's how we met each other. We were in the same class. It was me, her, and one other girl, and I was the only one that finished the whole 1,500 hours. She ended up dropping out, and I believe because she just got caught up in the lies, and she wanted a clean slate from my understanding. She told the whole cosmetology school that her oldest son's dad was dead, deceased. She never went in detail how or anything. Maybe she did and I just don't remember, but she definitely told the whole school that. And she basically got caught up in that lie because myself and another girl went to a party and there was C's dad, and we told the whole school, no, we met him. And I ended up leaving that party early, and she was like, no, that's not at all what happened. That wasn't my baby daddy. And I was like, Liz, yes, it was. And so we went back to school, and we told everybody, and then Liz dropped out, literally 2 weeks after that, because she realized that she fucked up. She could not get out of that lie.
While some people might take being exposed as a compulsive liar so bad that they had to drop out of cosmetology school as a wake-up call, Elizabeth shook it off. It was simply the next chapter in her ongoing reinvention, something we'll see again and again even to this day. Because in her short 30 years, Elizabeth Teckenbrock has lived a lot of lives. The oil tycoon's daughter, the child separated at birth and reunited with her long-lost sister, a teen mom on 16 and pregnant, a Purdue grad, an optometrist, a cancer warrior, a domestic violence survivor. You name it, she's lived it. And just like that, she slipped into her next role. She left cosmetology school behind, and with it, the name Elizabeth also took a back seat, as she reemerged as Nicole, which is her middle name. By 2016, she moved to Florida, met and married a man named Chris, and had her second child, a baby girl. And as many people did around this time, she also started a blog sharing her life as a busy wife and mom of 2.
Hello, loves. Nicole here to tell you about my lifestyle as a mommy, tips and tricks for everyday mommy life, and how I survive the mom life with Clorox wipes, coffee, snuggles, and wet baby kisses. Some of you may already know me, but for those of you who don't, I'm a mother of 2 beautiful children, 2 fur babies, and a fiance to my amazing Christopher. We are constantly busy, and nearly every day of my life holds a new adventure, whether I'm ready for it or not. So why create this blog if I'm so busy, you might ask? And what do I plan to include? I want to share our life with anyone who is interested. And not just our life, but the modern mommy life and things that can make it more fun and easier. This is just the beginning, and I'm excited to see where it goes. As my blog goes along, please feel free to send me a message with any ideas, questions, or even just to chat.
Soon after, she added photographer to the mix and went by Capturing Elegance by Elizabeth. It was around this time that she also shared a GoFundMe about her baby girl. Based on an email from the GoFundMe team and those who knew her, the campaign title was Help for Baby B and Family, and it was to raise money for her daughter, allegedly fighting cancer. Most of her friends forgot about this period because as fast as that campaign was started and shared, it was removed, a pattern they saw repeated many times. After speaking with dozens of sources, we have no reason to believe Elizabeth's daughter ever had cancer. And if a mother can fabricate something that serious, using her child to anchor the lie, you have to wonder, where is the line, if there is one? I'm sure you'll be able to form your own opinion on that question by the end of this series. Trying to trace Elizabeth's timeline has been complicated, to say the least. Over the years, she's created so many different social media accounts, each one capturing a slightly different version of who she was trying to be at that time. During her relationship with Chris, she appeared, at least online, as a proud wife and mom of 2. But even our sources who knew her then admit they didn't know much about the relationship. One moment she was married to Chris, pursuing a photography, blog, and influencer career, and the next she was visiting her family and friends back home in Indiana with a new fiancé, a doctor, Andrew Cormier, who had no idea that the words he was about to repeat on his wedding day would become the blueprint for his unraveling. He believed he was gaining a partner, but what he was really stepping into was a web of illusion, where in sickness and in health was drenched in deception, and for richer or poorer became a prophecy. On the next episode of e-LIES-abeth.
She just got with Andrew, and then bam, she's married to Andrew. And I was like, where did this guy come from? Like, you just were sleeping with a guy up here in Indiana. Like, what?
I recall the main incident of when she said she had cancer. This took the family by complete and total shock.
You know, she came out and said, oh, I was diagnosed with cancer. And I'm like, who lies about having fucking cancer?
She doesn't really display any of the qualities that a cancer patient would have.
I really did think that she was dead, like completely dead.